What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ales and Tales podcast. We are bringing you another episode, and actually it's part 2 of our brew review / brewer interview with Barrique Brewing, and I got it right.
Did you plan that?
No. I'm off the cuff, dude.
I did see him saying red rubber baby buggy bumpers earlier.
I was practicing behind him.
New York.
Rural juror.
What is it? What was the Scottish thing we were saying? They couldn't. Purple burglar alarm. Yeah.
What is it?
Purple burglar alarm. Scottish people can't say it.
What's the thing that, if you want to sound Australian, what's the thing you say?
Mate.
You know what it is? Not mate, but it's like...
Down under.
Sure.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. It's completely lost on people. I was going down a rabbit hole that's got no good.
I think it's called a kangaroo hole down there.
Yeah, that is
Kangaroo hole.
It's a pouch.
Yeah.
You went down a pouch.
I'm going to look it up.
So the nice thing about it is we have not gotten off the rails at all yet, which is perfect. I am your co-host and host. I'm your host, Mike Mercurio, with my co-hosts and beer buddies. We're going to start to the left this time. Jim McCarthy.
Yeah.
Carly Duggan. Ben Purrier.
Hello.
And our guest, the brewer of Barrique, and that is Spencer Longhurst.
Yeah.
So if you listen to episode 1, we were talking with him about Barrique and what's going on, and just kind of a good conversation. But if we're going to talk about beer, we need to try some beer, and it figures they have beer here. In fact, we were hanging out in their cooler, which was nice and cold, and Spencer was kind enough to choose some beers that we need to go through and give it a shot. So we're going to start with one, go through it, talk about it, see what we think. Then we'll move on to the next. And we're going to go with the Pils first.
Yeah, House Pils.
House Pils, Barrique House Pils.
I guess I'll pass.
Thank you.
My bad.
You guys got that one?
Pass one down.
Start with them and see what happens. Take one down and pass it around is actually got a new meaning right now because it
99
works.
balls of beer on the wall.
That's right. They've got at least 99 barrels of beer.
Barrels, yeah.
Did you have more than 99?
Way more than 99.
You got lots.
Did you get
Nice
some?
color to it.
Thanks.
All right. So first off,
Cheers.
so I don't know if you've seen how we do this. We got to check out what it looks like. So it's nice and clear.
Yes.
It's got a really bright light yellow to it, but it definitely has some good color. It's got a good amount of foamy head on it, which is awesome. Microfiber.
Could really wipe off a car very well and some
I
glasses.
spent the weekend dealing with a plumbing situation with somebody that was like, I need microfiber towels. So that's in my head. Micro
That
foam.
sounds very traumatic.
It was stupid. Anyway, looks great. It sticks around. The head sticks around for a while too.
It does.
How about the nose? What do we get? Ooh. I get dry tobacco and hay.
I get a little honey.
Yeah.
Little hay, little honey.
Honey.
Little sunshine.
No sunshine. It just smells good. It just smells just a slight bitterness to it. You can smell just a slight twinge.
I smell little spring on the Rhine. That's what I smell.
I like it.
It's my unsophisticated palate coming through.
Yeah, it's super light. It's just smooth.
I mean, it's your classic German Pilsner. You're going to get those bright hops.
I
a little
love that
weedy,
smell.
little floral.
Yeah. Just wet straw.
Nothing too malty.
Springy.
Yeah.
Smells good. All right.
I'm fascinated at Spencer just listening to us talk about the beer, going, all right, what are they going to say?
No, I'm taking it all in.
So the question is, do you guys do this when you try it, or do you go,
Yeah, 1 million times
nice, good?
throughout the process. Yeah.
So we're not entirely crazy.
Spencer, Mike is the kind of super taster of the group. He's the one that can generally pick out a lot of things that will make us either go, oh yeah, do taste that, or what the hell are you talking about?
Sure.
For me, it's the latter. It's constantly like, oh yeah,
okay.
I can't, identify any of this stuff yet. I'm just, it smells like beer to me.
So this is great.
That is good.
It's exactly what I want in a refreshing beer.
Yep.
It's got some bitterness to it that hits your tongue and makes your tongue kind of wake up. It hits the sides of your back of your mouth, just enough to get your attention. But it's clean. It wipes off quickly. It's got a minerally taste to it. Like if you drink white wines, like I'm a big Austrian white fan. I love the minerally rockiness of white wines. So it's dry, and you can
Arnoldie.
taste like rocks, like river rocks.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
You're exactly right. It's the minerality.
Austrian white.
I'll be back.
That's right.
It's minerals. Yeah,
It's the minerality of the water that we brew with. Yeah.
It's
There you go.
it's definitely a post lawn mowing beer for sure.
Yeah.
It really refreshes you.
Do you do anything to mess with the minerality of the water, or is it just the water you naturally?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, everything gets carbon filtered, and then I pre-boil all of the brewing water to precipitate out any of the minerals that I don't want in there, and then I add back some stuff that I do want,
Okay.
depending on the beer and the style and stuff.
That's one thing I've learned about the past year or so, talking with the brewers, of how much water manipulation goes on. I mean, because the water's 95, 98% of the beer, right?
Yeah. I think a lot of people underestimate how important water is to making great beer.
So why that homebrew tastes like homebrew.
It's like
Wow, that's usually oxidation.
yeah. like pizza dough.
Yeah.
I said that pizza dough is indicative of New York pizzas because of the water.
Yeah, everyone says you can't make real bagels outside of New York. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can make New York water. I don't. If you know anything about water chemistry, I can replicate the Brooklyn water. Like,
Well,
I remember that conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the last conversation we had a couple of months ago, it was about importing water from New York to create New York
Yeah.
bagels, and it's like the cost of water per pound is ridiculous. So why would
Yeah.
anybody do that?
Well, New
Doesn't
York
make any
is
sense.
New York is importing their water from the Great Lakes,
right.
Erie Canal.
So you can change water chemistry, like in Nashville, like you use Nashville city water to create this beer.
Correct. Yeah, this is Metro Nashville water. It goes through a pretty big carbon filter, and then, like I said, I boil it beforehand, so some of the calcium precipitates out.
So we're right next to the Cumberland River.
Yeah.
You guys don't just divert some and mess
No,
with it?
actually, the weird thing is there's a water plant like right here on the other side of the Spring Street Bridge over here, but our water actually comes from the Donaldson plant. There's two water plants in Nashville. And like if you're
guys
on
get
one
it from-
side of the river, it comes from Donaldson. If you're on the other side of the river, it comes from this one.
That's wild.
So like our water profile is slightly different than Beer Iris's, even though we're like
Wow.
half
Right
a
down the
mile
road.
from each other.
Interesting.
Which is better?
And you guys,
I don't know. They're honestly they're pretty similar.
It doesn't
but
matter because you
it's-
filter it out and boil it and do what
Well,
you want to it.
there is some slight differences because, like I said in the last one, we just did a beer with them, so we were comparing the water profile and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, it's a little bit different than ours." So.
Have you ever like brewed the same beer with each water just to see how it turns out?
No.
Just naturally. Just,
No, because I'm still augmenting the water. Like, I'm not really interested in finding out what it just tastes like with Nashville water, to be honest with Cumberland water.
That's one of those like.
There's some breweries that do that, and I don't like their beer, so
Yeah.
I've figured out how to augment the water to make it taste good.
I've found that I think the breweries I really like in town, I've realized talking with them that happens more than I realized. That's why I probably like it, is because they've augmented the water and made it to the minerality and the pH. And everything
Our
else
water's
they want.
pretty hard to make, like yellow lager with. You really have to try.
we don't have good naturally German water.
No,
I would imagine all the
it's
chlorine and everything else in
too
the water would.
alkaline.
Yeah.
Our water's great for making dark beer, stout, porter,
Really?
black lager. Yeah, the alkalinity in our water helps keep the pH in check.
Even if it's the water from Germantown?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I've
right.
worked on both sides of the river, and yeah, the water has been great.
So how much
dark
does
beer.
like the alkalinity, or I don't know the right word to say, and pH differ between a lager like this and a stout and a sour? Is it like drastic? Is it just a couple degrees? Like how does that work?
Are you going to know like the difference if you tell
No, I'm just curious.
she's
like,
about to learn.
It's a good question, though. I like that.
and how long does it take to change that?
This is called
It's a hard-
Stump the Guest.
No, it's
Oh
not
my
stump.
gosh.
It's not stump. It's I'm trying to figure out how to answer this in a pretty layman's
term,
term. Clearly.
Well, I mean,
We're all going to need the layman's terms.
Yeah, I mean, so
this.
the pH would be adjusted within 15 minutes. Usually, like 5 minutes, it would be equalized.
That's pretty
But pH is not logarithmic.
logarithmic.
I can't say that word. So, like, yeah, like a 0.1 change in the pH scale is not the same either way. So, like, it's pretty hard to answer that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how it works.
Do you try and
so.
shoot like not too far from the one side, somewhat in the middle?
So yeah, the pH has a lot to do with the enzyme conversions in the mash, the flocculation of the yeast, and then also like the drinkability. It's also like not food safe. If it's above 4.5, 4.6 pH.
That's more acidic.
Yeah, so
There'll be a quiz on this later.
7 is equal. Below 7 gets more acidic. Above 7.
I have the
is
picture of
alkaline.
somebody like at a pool going.
Yeah. So most beer is like starts in the mash around like 5.2 to 5.6 pH, and then it kind of like goes down throughout the process. When I'm usually knocking out yellow beer at around like 5.1. It's usually finishing in the low 4s.
Oh no.
Sour beers, obviously with that lactic acid producing bacteria, is finishing in the low to mid 3s. When you make darker beer with like stouts and stuff, that roasted malt actually drops the pH. So you're like, that's the only beer like I'm fighting to get the pH back up on is like dark beer. So we're doing that with different minerals that either dropping the pH with acid or bring the pH up with basic minerals.
So for those of you who think you're just gonna start like brewing beer at home, and it's gonna be exactly right, probably not. There's a level to this.
I'm tinkering with like 5 grams of things at a time, like 5 grams in a 750 gallon batch.
Those
I
people are
want to
dropping a
try
lot of
this.
acid.
I want to brew so bad. I want to go home. I've got the basement space. I want to do it. I want to brew beer so bad. But also, I know that I do not have the patience to do any of that. And within like an hour, I can be like, I just lose my shit and be done.
I'm bad with it. Like 5 grams. I'm thinking like this. What, like a handful or something?
No, it's like
not
I don't
even
know, a tiny bit of salt. Picture like
Oh, it's
a
like
spritz of salt in your hand.
that's wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Chemistry,
Chemistry.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You've got a whole giant chemistry lab, and you are a master chemist.
I'm not a master of
Well,
anything,
at this point, you're-
but I'm just,
Sir,
I'm just like trying to get it right.
I disagree.
Yeah, so House Pills is like
so
our new core pilsner. We just started doing it this year. We never,
That's really good.
before, like I said in the last episode, we put in some new tanks at the top of the year. So before that, we were only making like 1 to 2 lagers a month. With these new tanks, we're doing a little bit more, and we're afforded the capacity to start making this beer year round. So it's kind of our German-inspired pilsner, but we used American hops on it because the hop industry in the EU is not doing super good with climate change. I hear it's better this year, but the last 5 years have been on a pretty
Crops have been
steady
struggling.
decline of yields and quality and quantity and stuff. So I felt it to be kind of irresponsible or unsustainable to launch a new core brand and rely on the European hops I love to make the rest of our pilsners with. And
I
stuff.
love it. Working.
So yeah, it's German-inspired pilsner, but we use American hops on it. Yeah, it's available year-round. We just can it and keg it, and Tennessee distro would send a little bit to our out-of-state distributors, but we're really trying to focus on Tennessee with this one.
So off tap in the tap room, is it coming in these glasses?
So
or
this
it
is
come
our
in the-
this is our like Stagna or like our Kolsch glass. We do the half pours in this.
Okay.
In the tap room, it's got its own glass.
Okay.
It's kind of like a fluted.
Well, it's one of my, times are tough. So to go to a brewery and have a $4 beer on draft is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see.
You don't
For those
see
of you
that
that
anywhere,
don't
man.
know, $4. So it's got its own glass. What, like 12 ounces?
So the $4 pour is this size.
So this is
so this
$4
is like
pour.
7 ounces.
All right.
But even the House Pills full pour, I think, is like 10 or 12 ounces, and that's $5.
Yeah, $5 pour at a brewery. I mean, that's you go to anywhere nowadays, and it's $6 for
Right.
whatever.
It's
Yeah,
got
we're
a
trying.
ton
I
of
mean,
flavor.
delicious.
but I mean, our double IPAs are. We try
Yeah.
and price everything accordingly.
And y'all do, it's great.
You know, it's a smaller glass, not a 16-ounce pint, so it's $5. A 16-ounce pint of something else is $7.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the double IPAs are $8 or $9. So, yeah, we
I like the Oktoberfest half liters.
it's coming soon. Everything's in the tank.
Yeah.
So
917.
If people like
17. All right.
if people like a good, just a light pilsner
Yeah, this is
in
right,
the bottle.
right at 5%. Like I said, Europeans, kind of a German-inspired pilsner.
It's great.
Dry, crushable.
Yes.
Good.
Great flavor. Take it if you need it.
There's tons more.
Yeah.
This is definitely a pizza pairing.
Yeah.
Pizza pairing?
Yep.
Oh yeah. So so that's the next thing is what would you pair this with? So pizza 100%.
Absolutely.
Pizza and beer is always a winner.
This is a Sunday
Almost.
afternoon watching football.
Crushable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Delicious.
That's
Yep.
kind of how I designed it. I was like, it's hot in Tennessee, 10 months of the year basically. So
Yep. Refreshing.
nice, dry, low
Yeah.
ABV, flavorful, but like not tiring.
Right.
And like, I don't know,
It's
with,
got a-
mo-
it's
with
got a
all of
nice-
our lagers, like this is, an opportunity to geek out about it, but like, I want you to just come in and drink our beer and just enjoy it and enjoy each other's company. Like, you don't have to sit there and go nitpicking like, do I smell Citra in this? Like, which we have beers that you can do that with, but like with our lagers, I want you to just like,
So annoying.
Sit and relax.
Yeah.
It can be a background beer, right?
right. It doesn't have to be the star of the show.
There you go.
It's a social lubricant. It's
right.
not like distracting you from having a human interaction or an untapped check-in or something like.
People who do that are so annoying.
No,
I know. By the way,
that's
I
what they're
smell- no, I'm
passionate
kidding.
about. Like, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them or anything, but like,
There are definitely different beers and different purposes,
It's a
right?
situational thing,
There
yeah.
are some beers that are. It's like you should.
I mean, let
Have
me
a group
nitpick
together.
house pills. Like, let me
Yeah.
go. Like, maybe I'm gonna take 5 grams of this out of that, or like,
Yeah.
I need to change that hop or something. But like,
Can you smell
Enjoy.
something and actually know how much to remove or how much to add by weight? Because that's
I
a
imagine
talent.
it's more
Uh,
tasting than smelling, but
it's more tasting. The water thing is analytical with pH and sensory, I guess, to a certain degree. The hopping thing is definitely I don't think about it per weight. I think about it per pound per barrel at a certain time. Does that make sense?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I'm adding
depends
half
on
a
when
pound,
you're putting in the barrel.
half
when
a
you're putting
pound
in the
per
boil.
barrel at 15 minutes left in the boil, or
That is a labor
so
of love.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not thinking about the total weight. I'm thinking about it like where do those hops go into that process, and how do I augment it to get my desired outcome?
For those of you who might not know, how long you're boiling the hops will extract different flavors or how bitter it gets.
Yeah.
The longer you boil it, the more bitter it's going to be.
Sure. So yeah, we do a 90-minute boil on all of our lagers. So the longer you boil, the more alpha acids you're converting into a isomerized alpha acids. The more bitterness, as far as like the IBU scale, you're extracting from the hops. And then the less you boil it, obviously less bitterness, but also less volatility in that boil. You're gonna hold on to a little bit more of those flavor and aroma compounds. So like if you boil something for 90 minutes, you're not gonna taste or smell it. It's just gonna be bitterness. You boil it for 5 minutes, you're not gonna boil off all those volatile hop compounds. You'll boil off some, but not as much.
No.
And then you'll extract less IBUs as well. So the less you boil it, the more flavor and aroma you will get, and the less bitterness.
Interesting.
Perceived on paper bitterness.
So
The
we
IBU
talked
scale
about-
is super flawed, and that's an entire different 10 podcasts for me to bitch about.
I mean, we've talked about it before, and I've expressed my dissatisfaction. It's perception, which is
Right. I could put 80 IBUs in this, and I could put 80 IBUs in that stout you tried, and it would
Completely
be
different.
completely drastic.
yeah. Well, and then the human perception only goes to so many IBUs, which
Right.
I don't even think is Dogfish had
I think they
120.
say 100 is like the
Like
max
100,
we can
112,
taste.
something like that. Yeah, is the max you can taste anyway. So it
Right.
gets kind of. Anyways, moving on.
I mean, yeah, it's
So
you could have a beer with 30 IBUs and they don't taste the same.
no. So back to the pairing. Besides pizza, what would you put this with?
Fish.
I mean, as far as food, yeah, pizza, maybe some like fattier things.
Burger.
Burger,
It's a steak beer.
schnitzel kind of
Nice
thing.
Chicken sandwich.
Schnitzel.
Chicken. I mean,
Chicken
it's
parm, hot
kind
chicken.
of a very universal beer to go with a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think-
different
I think,
dishes. Salmon. grilled salmon. I mean,
Chameleon.
I think it goes with
Valuable.
hot days after mowing the lawn or
Yes.
at the lake on the kayak or something.
oh yeah.
Any grill out day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
This
that
works.
was like why
Any
we put it in the
sports day.
12-ounce can too. Like everything else we do is in a 16.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We
Makes
put
sense.
it in 12 because I just think it's like a perfect beer for taking on the lake or taking on the river.
And you don't see a gold can too often. It's very unique.
Yeah, we were trying to go for this like kind of classic 70s classic beer
70s?
look. I don't know,
You're
like
pulling it off, dude.
a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of those.
We didn't describe it at all this time. Like we
Oh, the
normally go
can.
through and like because we get some people that don't watch on YouTube that listen in, so we
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
go to the description of the can.
Carly.
Yeah.
Very.
Sure.
Hold on.
Oh wait, yeah, you gotta get the music.
Yeah, I got music here somewhere.
Come on, Jim, get on it.
Ready?
Yep. So we've got the House Pils from Barrique Brewing. It's a premium Pilsner. The can is a retro gold. It is very unique and it's a smaller size, so it's perfect for boat day or post lawn mow. It's very simple, very sleek. Definitely a retro 70s vibe. I love the font of the Pils. It's a great beer. So
It's got like an old school diner font.
it is, yes.
Yeah.
I would feel like the cool kid drinking this in the bowling alley.
The bowling alley?
You know,
Like be sporting this at the East Side Bowl right now. I mean, that'd be pretty hip.
buddy, if you had one of these back in the 70s,
Dude,
you're
it's like
definitely
the old Sterling
Yeah.
or the Stag cans.
Yeah.
you're sporting a mullet.
You could
got a big old
absolutely
mustache.
see the logo as a billboard or
Yeah.
like the standalone sign for a bowling alley or something like that. It's got that
How do
70s
you-
vibe to it. That's very cool.
How do you guys come up with the branding of each individual beer? Is it something that's collaborative inside, or
Yeah, so we have this one company, two of our really good friends called the Beer Marketeers. They do all of our like digital artwork and stuff. So they've done the logo, all the can designs. So yeah, Joel and I work like pretty closely with them whenever we're coming up with something new like this. Like, we kind of have like a few formats that we just kind of like stick to. Like this is our sour beer can where it's just like got the bottle. Like I said earlier, I think we might have been off air, but the bottle was discontinued. So started
the bottle
canning
on
it.
the can.
Started canning it. Put the bottle on the can. Then
Makes
that's
you
like our
sad.
lager can.
That cork
And then-
was nice.
yeah.
Cork service at the bar. Oh man, it's beautiful.
I mean, we still have several bottles. We're really not distring them. We're keeping them for in-house, but yeah. And then we have like an IPA can and then an English beer one. So we really have like 5 different cans that like one of our styles gets encompassed into.
I tell you, you see this in the grocery store. It does stand out. You know,
I mean,
the Barrique.
Bright gold can.
Well, no, I'm talking about even just the Barrique
Brick logo
Yeah.
with the 3 barrels.
Yep.
yeah, and we wanted to make that like front and center on that can, and like, it's a pretty unique label with its die cut, leaving the silver exposed
Yep.
and stuff.
Clean, straightforward.
It was, heavily inspired by like how we started just with those sour bottles. That all the beer was in oak, and the sour bottles, we don't have any in front of us, but you guys have seen them like where the label on that is die cut as well with the flag off the side. So we kind of, when we did that was our first can, the lager can, and that was kind of like the homage to the same sort of branding, and then it's kind of branched out, but tried to keep it feel cohesive.
Please take this as a kudos. I mean, my perception of you guys was like your Barrique, the branding of it and everything makes you loom large. But I appreciate the granularity and the organic approach that you guys have to just staying true to the nature of the beer.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
I think attention to detail is something that we like take a lot of pride in, and it goes beyond like what anyone would probably ever notice. But like, if you look at any of our sour bottles, like the cork, when we put the cork in, it's not faced a certain way, but we always label it so the cork is faced. The word Barrique is faced
Always
out.
face out. Yep, nice.
And then we twist the cap, the wire hood cap, so it's faced backwards, and then the flags are always coming off at a certain angle. Like, those are all
care.
hand labeled. Like
That shows care.
It's
You know who else does stuff like that is Ferrari.
people that don't like making money.
If you go to the Ferrari dealership right down the road here, every car that's in the showroom the hubcaps are right side up.
It was Mike
With
that was telling
tri-parking like that,
me.
it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, they take them off and they actually.
I understand, yeah.
So it was Mike that was telling me that because he used to work for Porsche, that Porsche grows their own cows for their leather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have their own. Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
we could grow our own
Like-
peaches, but like,
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Estate.
You know, for a high-end
Maybe one
Volkswagen
day.
and Audi, it's amazing what they do for them.
He loves jabbing them just because he knows it gets me. Ah, dick.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
What do you want in your mouth?
I meant Porsche.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks.
Fist bump across the
I need
table.
more
Boom.
beer just because of that. Anyway, so
He's a beer snob, food snob, and car snob.
German car snob.
Oh yeah,
I'm just.
but I am too. So we're certain.
I'm an aficionado of finely made things,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
that
I
means
appreciate
whiskey, certain cars, certain beers.
Aficionado, another word for snob.
Yeah, but what's your guilty pleasure? You
Yes.
gotta have like one cheap guilty pleasure. What is it?
Count
Yeah.
Chocula.
Oh shit.
Domino's.
Cheap guilty pleasure.
Domino's is a good one.
McDonald's. He likes Subway sandwiches. He likes
Walmart.
Really? You like
Walmart.
Subway sandwiches?
No, I hate Subway.
I would love to say a good smash burger is my cheap guilty pleasure, but they're like $16
Yeah, they're not-
for the burger
yeah.
right now. It's not even cheap.
What is cheap
It
anymore,
should be.
Biden? No, I don't even know what is cheap anymore. I don't know.
Well, you
I
did-
don't go out of my way.
You don't have like one like. I love whenever I'm like left to my own devices. Dirty Chinese food.
Yeah, right.
Like,
That's a winner.
Yeah.
but
That's a
don't
winner.
get me wrong. Like I also love going to Locust and having a $400 lunch.
So okay, so as dumb
I
as
like
this
the
is,
finer things, but like
yeah, man.
What's your
It's-
guilty
it's nice.
pleasure?
If you can do it, enjoy, experience. This is the whole point. Go and experience and try things.
PBR.
There you go.
Yes.
Experience PBR and then experience this and go, what?
Yeah.
Trader Joe's dark chocolate peanut butter cups.
Oh, those are fire.
Oh yeah.
That's still kind of bougie.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's
That's still very bougie, dude.
If you
Come
got-
on,
if you
it's
did
Trader
Trader
Joe's.
Joe's,
We wanted to hear
I would-
McDonald's
I
or
know.
Walmart.
Like shopping at Goodwill or something.
All right,
They're like,
all right.
they're
So
$3 for a
I'll go
thing.
the
Come
same
on.
vein, but a little bit like lower class. It's just the straight dark chocolate from Aldi.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, they have
Aldi's
good
got some good
Yeah,
stuff.
German
It's the
chocolate.
same company.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Trader
That's
Joe's
Trader
and
Joe-
Aldi's?
really?
Yeah,
No.
so it was
Did not know.
Aldi North and Aldi South.
They're actually brothers that fought each
Yeah.
other and got in a fight and split,
same
just
company.
like Puma and
We've talked about this
Zildjian
before,
and
yes.
Sabian.
Adidas.
Yeah. We talked about this like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, what is it
Yeah.
with German brothers always fighting each other and splitting their companies?
Well, Zildjian, I think, is Austria. So I guess
Same
you know,
thing, but
the-
totally different.
yeah,
Anyway.
pretty much.
Germany at one point.
Yeah. it was old, yeah. All right, so any other pairings you guys can think of? Because we got 2 other beers we need to try. I
Yeah,
want to try
I
them.
know. We're gonna get sauced before that.
More beer?
It's only 5%.
We gotta get some sort of
Yes.
food or something because I'm gonna freaking not be
All right.
able to
No,
run.
you're fine. We're champions.
Pretzels,
Come on.
pizza, grilled
pretzels.
food.
Yes.
Anything else? Even a grilled chicken salad would
Yeah.
work.
The peanut butter
this
filled
goes with
pretzels from
anything.
Costco.
That could work.
I can make a whole meal out of this beer and those.
Yes.
Or Chick-fil-A nuggets.
burgers.
I get burgers definitely. Yep.
So are we
just goes
going?
with
Are we going
everything.
alt beer next, or are we
No,
going
we're
sour
going
next?
to peach beer next.
Oh.
I think I want to finish with alt beer.
All right.
So yeah, all of our sour beers are conditioned in a bottle, keg, or can.
Awesome.
Where as opposed to like most breweries would just like inject CO2 to force carbonate something.
So it's all au natural, as they
All
say.
natural. Yep.
Man,
Wow.
it is a wild smell.
Yeah.
That
Definitely
smells
sour.
It smells like I stumbled on some fermenting peaches
Yeah, you did.
in a barn
Barn cat.
where the like there's a farm animaliness to it, like goats or
That's
cows.
fantastic.
That smells good.
It's good.
I like just
So this reminds me. So when I studied abroad in Normandy in France, Université de Caen, and we had
Flex.
Wow.
we-
Yeah. Humble brag. My gosh. What was that?
black.
Stop.
Who
What was that
That
again?
expensive. This was like
Charcuterie.
2018. Okay, anyway, let me tell my story.
Wait,
So
how do you say croissant?
croissant.
Croissant.
Anyway, so we had a sour beer when I was in Normandy, and it was Mort Subite, Subtle Death, and it tastes very similar to this, but it was cherries, not peaches. But it reminds like immediately like your smell, your taste can like bring you back to memory, and immediately it took me back to Mort Subit. So
Oh, really?
Brings
Just now.
you back to subtle death.
yeah,
Ah.
like in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, you know the origination of subtle death, right? It's a euphemism for an orgasm.
Subtle death or sudden death?
Subtle. You said subtle, right? Yeah. Subtle death or little death. Shakespeare used that as euphemism for orgasm.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
what do you say? Take me back to fond memories.
What were you doing there, Carly?
College.
Yeah. College.
No comment.
She was exploring the wild French countryside. Man, it smells killer. I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to purposefully not drink it because I'm afraid.
No, I love it. As I said,
Well, hold on. I tasted it, and I'm assuming I'm ready for Mike's face.
Shit.
Here we go.
I've got.
you
I've got.
haven't drank it yet.
No,
At
I'm trying
all.
not to.
At
I'm like
all.
I'm
Because I know how you are with
delayed
sours.
gratification or whatever.
All right, let's do it
Go ahead.
on the spot.
It's not.
No.
That wasn't overwhelming.
I don't find it too
It hits.
sour.
It hits the top of my mouth, which I've never had something hit before as a beer. And then it hit the back corners of my throat.
I know. It's true. He's not hearing any of this.
You can't hear any of your sound.
What are you
I
doing?
forgot. I'm doing all these different sound effects.
Great.
You know, I have a guy that's saying Shazam. You know who's saying Shazam? Johnny Hull.
Yeah, because
You have to hear it. It's funny.
John Hull.
John Hull.
That's awesome.
No, I love this. I said earlier, sometimes the alpha acids hit the solar plexus a little bit too much, and this isn't too much. Like it's beautifully peach and sour, but balanced
Yeah, I mean,
and drinkable.
there's some acid there. It's definitely,
but it's not overwhelming.
it's a sour beer.
Yeah.
It's not overwhelming.
but
It's
it's
refreshing.
You get past that
Yeah,
first palate shock sip,
Yeah.
and
It becomes very.
You get that
very-
first like initials, shock your palate with the low pH in it, and then you're like, oh, there is some nuance there.
100%. It is obvious it's a sour.
Yes.
100%.
The palate shocker now available at.
Twister.com.
There you go.
Right.
Along with Tongue Glove.
Palate shocker.
There's the second one.
We need T-shirts made up with those phrases.
And then I'll smoke anything.
Yeah, that's right. I'll smoke anything.
And subtle orgasm.
That's right. Subtle
Subtle
organ.
death, which is
Gosh.
Mort Subit.
what's the beat?
All right.
So 5.9 on the ABV for this. Sell the
Yeah.
can. We got wild ale brewed with Tennessee grown grain, aged in oak, blended from 9 unique casks, each rested on local peaches. Do you know what farm the peaches came from?
Yeah. More or less.
Subtle shout out.
Yeah.
So all the peaches that we got last year came from the Peach Truck, which is a local
Yeah.
peach purveyor here in town. They're all Georgian and South Carolina grown peaches because Tennessee got that late frost last year, so we got no stone fruit. Our typical stone fruit supplier is a little bit north of Memphis. It's called Jones Orchard. We've gotten all of our peach, nectarine, pear, plum from them for the last like 3 or 4 seasons, but they got obliterated by that frost last year, so we got no stone fruit from them. So we did source some from the Peach Truck. They give us our, like, they call them seconds, right? I don't need it to look pretty in the grocery store. Like, I actually kind of want it a little bit on the more ripe side.
More of the flavor.
Yeah, a little bit more to the sugar and flavor development, and we can just like tear it open and not have to cut it because we
Labor is
de-seed it.
expensive.
I'm the brewing industry, but yeah.
Well, if you ever need peaches, I got a peach tree in my backyard.
Wow,
We
like
never
it's-
eat them.
Get like a whole like 16th of a barrel.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, whatever helps.
We got 200, we got 400 on Monday, and we put it into 2 barrels, like 400 pounds.
I step on them
400
mostly when I mow the lawn.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some Jones Orchard peaches in here, a couple different varieties we get from them, and then the Peach Truck doesn't tell us what varieties they are. There's definitely 2 unique ones that you can just tell visually, but they're some sort of southern growing. They're not cling fruits. They're like freestone peaches, where like the
Just
pit
pops
comes
out.
straight out. Wow. Some of the Jones Orchard ones are clingstone, where like there's
a little more work.
Well embedded.
Yeah, and then we'll actually take those pits that still have a bunch of fruit on them because you can't get it all off, and we'll put beer on top of those too. Because
is that just because you have just the pits?
we had just the pits. That was just pits from peaches and nectarines.
Really?
Too. It's a little higher on the alpha.
That one had a
acid,
lot of
alpha,
acid. Yeah, that one was a little tart.
But delicious
But yeah, we've
nonetheless.
actually done some like with more than that, and there's like this cool like mascarpone nutty thing you get from aging it on those spits. Like
Mascarpone.
if you think
You
about
sung to my Italian
that's
side.
that's
man.
how
I'm all in.
amaretto is made, right? It's the
Bits.
pits
That's correct.
of of cherries.
Really? Did not
They're
know
related
that.
to the
Well, it's
almond.
actually the
That makes
nouveau.
sense now. Why it always kind of tastes
You know,
cherry.
if you ever cracked open and there's actually the seed inside of it, that's called the nouveau in French. That's how those liqueurs are made. They don't do it.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of the almond, which is why the almond tastes so similar to.
Exactly.
Is exactly.
It looks like an almond.
Yeah, exactly.
The nouveau of a peach looks like exactly like an almond.
Almonds don't have all the extra fruit around them, so you don't get that extra layer. Whereas the peach is just basically an extra layer of greatness.
Yeah.
It's funny. I am my dad's son. I know because like growing up, he was always just peaches were his thing, and peaches still to this day. I love peaches. They're so. This is very very good. It is sour. It is not something that's overwhelming to the palate. You will get that initial shock,
Yeah.
but it's even the shock is not like
It subsides.
quickly. It doesn't just hammer
acidic.
you.
No, not at
I
all.
don't like it.
You don't like he's just wiping that glass out.
Well, no, honestly,
I've
like
already refilled my glass. Yeah, there's more here.
the first sip was kind of a shock, but then you're like, okay, like I'm drinking a sour, like I know what to
Yeah,
expect.
especially coming from like
Yeah.
the Pilsner.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so. If you think about peaches, there's the people talk about I can even taste the peach fuzz. I don't. That's not there. This is like the meat of the peach. I get like all the just juicy center goodness of the peach
Not the rind.
with the bitterness of the rind.
Yeah.
Without any of the fuzz. It's like if there's like the fluff on the outside. No, we're just going straight to the center with
Yeah.
this.
That's
It's
the worst
just-
part of a peach.
No, well, not the center. The center of the
the
meat.
fuzz. Like
Oh well. I kind of like it.
It's got all the
It's
nutrients.
like the fluff in a pillow or something.
I don't like it. I prefer
Mike's a
next
big
So,
fan
I
of
mean,
fluffers.
I imagine you're not peeling all your peaches, though.
No.
I imagine all that skin is in the beer still.
Yeah, like
It's just over.
we on the soft ones like this, like we'll just rip them open, peel the pit
flesh
out.
just overpowers
I think it's a little harder. We'll have to use a paring knife and cut them in quarters. But like the ones that we processed this week, you can just tear in half, pull the stem out or pull the pit out, and then throw the peaches in a barrel and the stem in the trash.
I would be
That's
full
got to be
on
an interesting
peaches
day.
before I left.
Just a bunch of
Yeah,
guys.
you only really eat like 2 or 3 before you're like kind of sick of it.
Done, yeah.
And then they're like I said, they're like a little bit overripe seconds.
Yeah.
So they're like pretty messy and. But yeah,
It's a
I
fun
definitely
day,
take a
because
bunch
you're sitting here
during
just
peach season. I definitely take a bunch home for cooking and baking and stuff.
You do a lot of cooking and baking?
I don't do as much baking as my girlfriend does, but I do a lot of cooking. Yeah, I love cooking.
Thank you,
So,
our
I mean,
marketing
so
specialist.
getting back to the pairings, what are you putting this beer with? What do you typically go sour beer? 'Cause that's something I normally drink just by itself. I don't typically
It's almost
have
like
this for dinner.
a pairing with a dessert, and I'm kind of getting that like a cheesecake.
Mac and
Yeah.
cheesecake.
It needs
This
something
one's
sweet or
Yeah.
neutral.
Yeah,
Yep.
like really again fatty or sweet.
Yeah.
I think also like something bright without like a bright salad, but not like an acidic
Right.
vinaigrette or something like
Yep. Like a fruity salad, almost like a Waldorf.
or like something with like I want to call it rocket. What do you guys call it in this country? Arugula.
Yeah.
Rocket.
Or like some charcuterie, like
Yeah.
some sharp cheeses.
Fatty cheeses or fatty meats and
yeah.
stuff. in the
What'd you say?
charcuterie.
Sharp cheese.
Charcuterie?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
That's how you say it with a French accent, I'm pretty sure.
Have you been to France? Is that what you're saying?
Oui.
We talked about this.
Flight Holmes.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Some French cheese and some
Yeah.
cured meat.
Subtle death.
I'm going
We want
Italian.
so.
I want a burrata cheese with this.
Yeah.
Burrata.
Super fatty.
Yeah.
What's a burrata?
With some balsamic glaze.
Yes.
Some cheddar.
So next time you get some burrata, I got something for you. Take your tomato, your
basil.
good, like homegrown, ripe tomato, put it in the freezer and freeze it. Take it,
Shave it on a-
shave
Yep.
it on the burrata before you do like the balsamic and yeah.
Wow.
There was a Jenny's
Good
ice cream
summer
where they
treat.
did a shaved frozen tomato sorbet, and it was killer.
That's what I'm thinking. Sorbet could go with this as well.
Yep.
Honestly, like a good
Italian ice,
This would be a great
Caprese.
Italian ice.
right?
right. I did a good caprese with this, with a little
Yeah.
peach on the side, good balsamic, and
Look at me coming up with the pairings.
That was good.
Yeah,
This
very
is not a
bougie.
pizza beer.
So-
This is
No.
not an after mowing beer. This is you want to pay attention to the beer.
Yeah.
Whereas the
Yeah.
pills, you can appreciate the beer for what it is. It was killer. It has flavor. If you like Miller High Life and Miller Light and Bud, no, never mind. Michelob, the beers that
More
are just
classic beer. More
right,
classic
but you
beer.
want actual flavor instead of
Add body
tasting
to
the
it.
glass of the
Yeah.
bottle, which is
Yeah.
pretty much that nothing.
Yeah.
The pills has tons of flavor. This, you want to focus on it. This is the highlight of whatever you're going to mess with. This would be a good marinade for a chicken, but again, you want to highlight it. I dig it.
going back to this, have you ever grilled or smoked any peaches, any fruit, or anything in
Yes,
any beers? Like
both.
augmented the fruit
We
to
did
make the
do
beer?
one beer with various artists brewing, RIP.
I miss them.
So they had
That was our first
they had
brewery
Pat
review.
running that smoker out back, and he actually smoked or I guess grilled some peaches for us one time, and
wow.
we did this grilled peach beer with the collab with that.
Nice.
It was cool. It had all this like juicy peach candy character with like this like
Caramelized.
smoky kind of undertone. It was
So
a little
good.
bit more acidic than this, which is like not my favorite, but a lot of people love that beer.
Yeah.
Glazed ham.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yep.
It would go great with like salty ham, salty fatty ham, in the same vein as charcuterie. Like,
Yep.
I wish I would have tasted that beer you're talking about with various artists because everything they did was killer. Their stuff was good.
There's someone told me that there was a bottle shop in town that still had some the other day.
Really?
Really?
Real.
I've got a bottle. I've got a bottle at home.
I want to say it was Main Street, but like I could be wrong. That's because Main Street has everything.
I'll send a note to Aaron. and
Aaron
ask,
might have
Aaron,
some,
you got
but, like,
some? Man, like, come on. hook it
Kyle,
up.
our old bar manager, told me like a month ago. He's like, I saw some
Various artist stuff
smoked
in there.
peach beer somewhere. And I was
Wow.
like, I can't remember where it was because he told
Oh,
me
and
like
it's
a
the
month or two
smoked.
ago.
It's not just very. It's the smoked peach.
It's
beer
the one that we
saw.
did.
Oh man.
Like
That's awesome.
there's some bottles floating around out somewhere in town. We don't have any.
All right, I'm
But
I would
contacting
I would
Horton
ask you to
tonight.
do that again. I
I
would
think
love
like
to try
5 or
a
6
smoked beer.
cases went to distro, and like apparently there's still a couple bottles out there.
All right,
that's,
I'm
that's
on
what
the
I was
hunt.
told a month or two ago.
I'm on the hunt.
I can't remember where they told me they were, but
When I have like a big cookout or something like that with a bunch of people, one of my go-tos is grilled peaches
yeah.
because it's a great flavor. Just toss them on the
Vanilla
grill.
ice cream.
Just let them just they
I mean, with
caramelizes.
anything,
The sugars in them
with-
is so
on
good.
a salad with pork.
Oh, yeah.
with this beer, whatever.
That's awesome. Oh,
How often do you have those cookouts?
not often enough. Like once, maybe every 2 years, unfortunately. It's about we're due.
We are due.
We didn't describe this, by the way. It is a
hazy.
lemony yellow. It is a
Yeah.
hazy lemony yellow. I got really almost no head when you pour it.
Sorry.
And I'm drinking it surprisingly fast for a sour. It's
He's not
good.
hearing the subtleties.
You can't hear it.
Oh,
No subtle death for him.
no.
And awkward silence.
Let's shall we go to the third? Are we
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, we haven't rated anything, which I don't think we need to. I think we're talking
That
about
first
how good it
beer,
is anyway.
I'll go back
Yes,
and
my rating is yes.
yes. The first beer I would say is definitely an 8.
It's a 9 for me. As
Yeah.
far as Pilsners go, it's a 9.
Yep.
9 out of 10 is killer.
I like the again going back to the very refreshing flavor, a lot of dexterity to it, full body flavor. I mean, it's like you talked about, a definite 6-7 steps up from the other brands and
Oh,
stuff like
yes.
that. It's definitely refreshing.
There's entry level.
Yes.
Like if you're thinking about your first wheels as a kid,
Right.
getting my wheels, it's
Right.
like the
Like a Volkswagen.
plastic roller skates.
Right.
That Pils was like a Mercedes.
Right. No, I mean that's or a Porsche. You know, it's kind of like a Porsche. Yeah.
I think it's called a
Did he
Porsche.
actually give? Stop. Did he actually give credit?
I'm giving.
That was good.
I'm on your side.
You got to stroke the ego a little bit.
Yeah, it's not to the Mercedes level. It's definitely Porsche level.
Yeah, it was killer. As far as sours go, this is one of probably my favorite sours I've had. So I'm going to give it, as far as sours go, a 9. As far as beers that I would normally drink, a 7. It's still high up there because it's not
For you, it is.
There's no tongue
sour
glove.
7. That's big.
Yeah, it is.
That's
I'm
normally
kinda-
like
And I'm not
3.
just saying it because he's here. That's I want you to
Right.
understand.
And we try to keep objectivity here. So I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. I'm going to be the same wavelength as Mike.
Honestly, it's
Ben's going to have a fraction.
No, I don't have any. I love Barrique. I'll publicly state that Barrique is one of, if not my favorite brewery in town.
Yeah.
And so all these, this sour is fantastic for me because again, it doesn't grab me in the solar plexus where it hurts. It's got all the flavor on the. It's got that great tongue love, not tongue glove, tongue love.
Tongue glove versus
But
tongue
it's,
glove.
you,
I
you
like
get
it.
the peach, you get the sour. It's balanced. It's easily drinkable, especially for a sour. Because a lot of times those are your slower sippers. You'll get a bottle and you split between 4 people and it still takes a minute. And this, I can drink this a little too easily. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. It does go down quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the all pills or the house pills, I would say 7, 8 out of 10. Very good summer, hot weather beer. And then the peach is sour, 8 out of 10. I don't normally go for sours, but it went down very smooth and just good flavor. Kind of a shock at first with the sour because we were drinking non-sours the whole night, but just really smooth and goes down a little too easily. So yeah.
Spencer, every time Carly speaks, we have to put like a music bed underneath it.
No.
She's just kind of, she's like,
I'm not
no.
gonna lie, I feel a little jealous. I don't get my own music.
None of us do. None of us do. Carly, it's a special, thing for you. So,
But to be able to come up with a beer that like I'm super proud of in the completely spontaneous fashion, and I was like, that's my favorite part of the sour beer program is like the completely spawned beer is so unique. When we taste those barrels, it doesn't taste like. I can taste all these beers and be like, yep, that's our beer. But when you taste the spawn one, you're like, wow, that doesn't taste like our beer. Like it doesn't have that mixed culture and it doesn't. It tastes like our spawn beers. Some of them are super outliers, but yeah, those are my favorite.
well, Mike, set us up with this particular one. What are we drinking?
All right. So real quick, I'm going to come back to what you were saying. I'm curious about that. So this is the Barrique Brewing and Blendings Alt Beer, Dusseldorf Alt Beer. So it's Dusseldorf style.
It's definitely Japanese.
5.1% alcohol by. Exactly.
Yeah.
Took me a second. I'm getting slower as we go. 5.1% alcohol by volume. Production time 9 weeks. Brewed with Weyermann Pilsner and Munich malts. Hopped with Pearl and Tettnang. Lagered in oak casks. Awesome.
It's funny. I was like, I'm joking with it. Sounds Japanese, but I mean, it definitely. If you were to go across the pond and south, Mexican kind of comes to mind in a way as far as coloring.
I'm so confused at everything you just said. What sounds Japanese? Across the pond in south isn't Mexico.
Across the pond.
Where are you?
Lost.
Across the pond from Japan.
I will never use you as navigator
from Japan.
ever.
That's right.
Ever.
It's the confidence that I
don't think I've ever heard anyone refer to the Pacific as the pond.
The pond.
I thought the Atlantic was the pond.
Was the Atlantic? The Pacific is a bigger pond.
It's a very bigger pond.
Yeah, much bigger
That's
pond.
the lake. That's across the lake.
All right.
Across the,
if you have your bingo cards open,
bay.
folks, just cover all of them because we have no idea what the hell just happened.
Off the rails.
Where are you, Jim?
Well, what's the? The coloring. I'm getting. What I'm trying to say is that it's a
It's amber. It must be from Mexico.
a Dos Equis.
No.
That's not what I'm saying. It reminds me of a Dos Equis type of color, too, is all what I'm saying. That's what comes to mind.
That dark amber color.
Yes.
Well, so Dos Equis, the Mexican-style lager, is based off of Austrian lagers.
Really? I did not know that.
So that original recipe comes from the Germans. Like if you go down to San Antonio, Texas, it's largely German. You get a lot of old school like German delis and places like that beer down there.
Really?
Yeah. The
Mixed with
Germans,
sweat and strife.
A lot of Germans immigrated to Mexico because
I think
of
Hitler
some war
went to
or something.
Argentina, wasn't he?
I'm not going to get into the details there, but like a lot of Germans immigrated to Mexico for some reason in like the 40s and 50s.
Run!
Yeah. Too hot for them.
Yeah, so they took their brewing practices there.
Carly, what were you laughing at so hard?
Just your navigation.
Across the pond from Japan. Yeah, go east.
What the?
Maybe stop in Hawaii and hang out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what has just happened.
So back to the
Off the
beer.
rail,
What can you tell us about alt beer?
Okay, so Dusseldorf is a city in Germany, not in Japan.
Not Japan.
Not Japan.
Or Australia for that matter.
No. Yeah, so in Germany, there's, it's pretty lager-dominated beer culture. There are some pockets of non-lager beer, I guess, like Hefeweizen being probably the most prominently known one. The Kolsch style from Cologne would probably be like number 2 recognized. And then right a little bit north of Cologne is the city of Dusseldorf, where they have this super unique style called alt beer, where it's basically like a German amber ale. I would describe it as, or somewhere it borrows. It has a lot more similarities to Kolsch,
Right.
despite like Kolsch being completely brilliant and yellow. Like those similarities are different, but as far as like the brewing practices and the yeast choices and the drinking culture, it's more similar to Kolsch than any other kind of region of Germany. In my mind, it's an English brown ale made with German yeast.
Okay.
It's like kind of how I
Get that sweetly sour
Cherry.
kind of smell to it.
Yeah.
Cherry, molasses.
Yeah, so it's pretty heavy on like Munich malts, and it's fermented with this alt beer strain, which is a German ale strain that ferments at a little bit cooler of a temperature than typical ales, and then it's like thoroughly lagered like a lager would be, similar to a Kolsch but amber,
Okay.
a little bit more hoppy and bitter.
Licorice.
A little bit of anise. I think that's come from the Perle and the Tet.
Are you getting that, Mike?
No,
Really?
not at all.
I kind of had a little hint of licorice. Black licorice.
I kind of see what you're getting. It's not the it's more the aftertaste than it is the in your face.
I got it right up front.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think you're having a stroke. I don't know.
No, I mean I think,
So, first off, to describe it to folks, that is a beautiful tobacco color.
Yeah.
Like when I think of like wood in your house, like if you're gonna
Mahogany.
Rich mahogany.
it's just
Yeah.
beautiful color. Like as far as, so I'm a drummer, and if my next drum kit, that would be exactly the color I want. I want natural grain with something like a tobacco color to it, and that is a beautiful color. It's dark, it doesn't let a lot of light through, but it does still show its color. There was very little head to it. You notice it went away almost immediately.
Yep.
I almost get no nose from it. It's like
Really?
slightly damp leaves in the fall with a little bit of caramel.
You are so great at
Caramel.
describing beers.
Right,
That make people
it's-
want to drink them.
I hope that's good. I hope
Sure.
people like wet leaves. I don't know.
No, I completely agree. I didn't get any of that, but
I figured.
Completely.
That's
I
the
figured,
fucked up part is when he says it, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
you kind of get the like, dang it.
I described it
he's
as
smart.
cherry and the other thing I said,
molasses.
molasses.
Yeah.
There is definitely a molassy
And
hint
earthy
to it.
cherry molasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's light. Like if you're looking for nose on a beer, this isn't the beer for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I look for yeses on it.
Malty and
It's
sweet on
like
the tongue.
super dry. It's supposed to be like drinkable, right? Like in Dusseldorf, it'd be served in this size of glass.
Okay.
And they just keep bringing them until you put your coaster on top.
Oh, nice.
Like the Brazilian
That's my kind of place.
Kind of like
thing.
coal service.
It's exactly like coal service. Yeah, they're like 45 miles apart, Cologne and Dusseldorf, and they have this like battle of who has the best ales.
You have to say, "Stop it! Come on!
Yeah,
No
So
more!"
it's like it's a full drinking experience, but super dry and crushable is like the tricky thing about all beers.
Yeah,
Like
dangerously.
It's robust, but also like you know it goes down smooth and quick. And
Yeah, it is very smooth.
I
that's
can't
for
believe
sure.
how light it is.
It's a whiskey color.
Like
I mean,
it does
really
not
is.
look. If you look at that, that is not a light looking.
No.
That is not a light beer.
No,
Right.
And then it hits your tongue and it's like water. It goes.
it really is.
and
It is very
wipes right past your tongue, and it just kind of like tickles certain areas of the tongue as it just whips on by.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it has a linger to it. So initially, I get a tobacco, a molasses. You get the like Pilsner notes, and then maybe a little wheat, and then it goes away, and then like 15 seconds in, all of a sudden, now all the caramel and malt
Right.
and
a little bit of bready sweetness, some caramel.
yeah, caramel. There you go. The molasses hits, and then it kind of comes back and goes, "Hey, that just happened."
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen when you sip it. It
But you
comes
want more
back.
after that.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
because you're
And
trading places with those two flavors.
That's the Dusseldorf and Cologne like
I mean, because
drinking culture, right? It's like
my
you drink
experience
small
with-
glasses and
And just keep rolling
Yeah.
with it.
my experience with beers that judging a book by its cover, a beer like this, I'm like instantly like, well, here goes nothing. I may or may not like this, but this is like everything you described is exactly spot on. Hammer meat nail.
what I-
Very smooth. Yeah, it's
I think I'm full of shit. I don't know if people just be like, "Yeah, that works."
no mistake. You are, but I mean most of the time. But you walked into that.
It's what I love. Somebody that doesn't drink a lot of craft beer, getting introduced to new styles, and like,
Right.
yo, that's really good. Like, I would order that again. Like,
yeah,
I totally
I
would.
would put this in front of anyone that says like, "Oh, I don't really like beer, but
Yeah.
like I like Yingling or Sam Adams or
Right.
something like."
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
This
But
is
Sam
definitely
Adams
a
is-
lot drier and a little bit more.
Sam Adams takes a little work to acquire a taste for, in my
Right,
opinion.
it's
you
too
know?
sweet.
I don't think it's sweet. I think it's got a bitterness to it. Sam Adams ale.
They definitely have a bitterness to them
Yeah.
that I can taste,
Yeah.
Both.
which is
This
more
does
than
not
I
have
want.
that.
No, there's
But this is
almost
like a firmly bitter beer. It's 35 IBUs. I'll be willing to measure.
Yeah.
It's
right? Like,
That's
again,
crazy that I don't get that.
But it's
Why
just
BS?
how you balance them against that sweetness and stuff.
It's-
And we actually have one that's going to release next week. It's like it's just stick alt, which is like a strong alt or a secret alt.
oh,
So it's like a little bit higher in ABV and a little bit higher in everything, hopping. All
right.
So
I'm definitely
they make
curious.
in Dusseldorf they make the alt beer and then like the stick alt, which is like translated as secret alt, which
This
is like the one that's like for the regulars or the brewers and stuff.
The
So
locals.
that one I got. We're gonna can it on Tuesday, so very
I'll be
similar,
back on Wednesday.
very similar kind of thing. But yeah,
All right.
trying to keep it as authentic to like the regions and do service to the people that have been brewing these beers for hundreds of years and stuff, and like put our own little spin on it, but also keep it as authentic as possible.
Spencer, that is a killer beer.
It is.
Truly,
Yeah.
that is a
It's very
absolutely.
I see why you ended on it.
I am
Yeah, I
not
thought
a
it
huge
would
fan of
kind of
brown beers.
finish- Finish cool against the peach beer.
It's and I'm getting into pairings. A chili dog.
Chili?
I was gonna say,
Everything fall.
yeah,
Yes.
Grilled squash.
Instantly came to mind within the last 30 seconds.
Part of
Chili
that
dog.
squash
Some
would
sort
be
of
fantastic.
stew or something like
Yeah, like a
goulash
baseball.
or
Yeah,
something.
baseball game.
Chili dog goes well.
Yeah. And it's
I would pair this with more of this. I have no interest in anything with this. I can see things that this would go well with, like a pork loin or something like that.
Sausages,
Yep.
spicy
Yep.
mustard.
Schnitzel.
sausage.
Everything
Yep.
German.
But just by itself, that beer by itself just has enough nuance going on that you can just sit outside on a fall day and appreciate every aspect of that beer.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to go to Dusseldorf and sit at the Altstadt and do
I'm
that.
in.
Yes.
I mean, this is my
Life
version
goals.
of that beer, but
Yeah.
that's the epiphany moment is drinking these styles of beers like where they're.
When Carly's not going back to Cleveland, she can go to Germany.
Well, I was actually going to volunteer a degenerate German beer story if anybody wanted to hear it.
Hold on.
Roll with
Okay. So my sister and I decided to backpack Europe. September of 2021. I have a friend in Germany. She's actually in Aachen, which is an hour, 30 minutes from Cologne or Köln, German. So we had a lot of German beer, some Schnitzel, Kolsch beer, and we will go back to Aachen. And apparently Aachen is 99% men, and me, my sister, and my friend Rebecca were the only girls.
Like
and
Candyland.
we're hanging out at this park, and like in Germany, it's open containers, so we're drinking beers, we're having fun, and these German guys come up to me, my sister, who speaks zero German, and they're like, yeah, no, yeah.
A lot of sausage.
And they're talking to us in German, trying to invite us to their frat party, and we have no idea what they're talking about. But my friend Rebecca, who grew up in Germany, is fluent in German. She can understand exactly what they're talking about, and she tells us, like, Carly, Olivia, like, they're inviting you to a German frat party. Do you want to go? We're like, sure. Like, well, why not? And at this point, I had some Kolsch beer and Schnitzel, and I had a pretty full belly. And we go to this German frat house party. They bring out this big old crate of beer, and it's just bottles of like light beer, and we're all drinking it. And then this guy was like, "Oh, do you want to have some Riesling?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in Germany. I'm gonna have some Riesling." So I've had a lot in my stomach, and it's like midnight, and we're like, "Oh, like we're like 30 minutes from her apartment. We need to catch the train or the bus to get back to her apartment in time before the train or the bus stops." So we're like, "Okay, we gotta go. Bye, guys." And we're like the only girls in this party. Is this guy frat house? And they're like, "Oh, Carly, like, what can I do to have you spend the night?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm trying to go home." So then
Have you ever heard of a spit roast?
Well, and the guys were getting drunker, and they were speaking to me in German, and I'm like, "I don't speak German. I'm sorry, I can't."
Getting
comprehend.
Liam Neeson on the phone.
So, yeah, 9. So it's like midnight. We're running to the bus stop because we have to make the train to get back to her apartment and not walk 2 miles home. We're running, and I have a full stomach of Schnitzel and beer and Riesling. And we get back to the bus stop. The bus has already left. We're like, dang it. So we have to walk 2 miles home.
You're going to walk off all the Schnitzel.
1 mile in, I'm like, guys, I can't do this. And I go, and it's like dark. It's like a city. And I'm like, I have to
It's like
throw
you're
up.
setting up a scene from Taken.
No, I don't get taken. I go into the bushes and I just hurl. I feel so much better, but I'm still like, when your stomach is too full from the food and the beer and the wine. So yeah, that's my German
coming out one of two ways.
debauchery
I've
story.
never experienced that.
Very, very
Ever?
good beer and wine, but
So, yeah, did you notice?
Where do you go from there?
Where are you going with
from
this?
there, Mike? Where do you go from there?
I was gonna
Drive
say,
the
did you
bus,
notice
pal.
when you were at the frat party that when you looked up, all eyes, no matter what direction were facing you
Right.
guys?
Where's she going with this?
At all a point where you look up and go,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Have you guys ever heard of Brazzers? It's like, what?
no.
Like, we got to get the hell out of here.
You're right.
You're cut off, sir.
Me?
You're cut off.
Wait, hold on. We'll do the pivot. We're going to pivot from there.
Pivot.
Well, you have to do the video of the guy having the interment or.
You can tell we're 3 beers in.
This would be our third episode
Yeah.
normally.
Well, 4 beers, I guess. Yeah. This is the fun
All
episode.
right, so back
What
to
usually
the beer then. What has been your favorite?
Oh, definitely the first one. The pale, the
House
IPA.
Bills?
Yeah.
The House Bills? Oh, the
Yep.
IPA that we had when we first walked
when we
in.
first came in.
Oh, okay.
By far, absolutely. Yep.
Interesting.
That was a just delightful concoction.
The past hit it off for me. Like they've all been fantastic, but
Yes.
just I love a good wild, a good sour, and to have one that's so flavorful that doesn't burn my stomach with the alpha acid is just my happy place.
I would say, honestly, double hazy IPA.
The first one we had.
The words that I can't remember
Right,
because
it's,
it's music terms.
Absorption coefficient.
Yes,
thank you.
Coefficients.
That one
That
was.
is
Yeah.
that can put you guys on the map in a big way, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, so before
There's
Mike
20 cases of it.
Right.
before Mike answers, I'm really curious to see, like, your heart, your passion is in the lagers and the sours, and you occasionally do an IPA.
Yeah.
And two people instantly were like, the IPA has been my favorite.
That's fine. I want to make the best IPA I can, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make more of it just because everyone likes it. Like, honestly, we make
Supply and demand.
we make the beer that we want to make, and that's economical for us to make. And when I have 1 month or the 28-day hole in that little tank I make hazies in,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one. But like most of the time, that tank's tied up with other stuff that we're more passionate about, and that probably makes us more money. Like,
Please keep making money. I want you guys to stay around.
Yes.
now we'll probably make more hazies, but like,
Yeah.
2 to 3 a year maybe. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I need to get
I
on
want to
the
make
email
them
list.
cool, and I'm already like excited about, because that one that you guys liked had this experimental hop in it that I want to use again, but I want to pair it with something different next time. So like, I'm already looking forward to the next opportunity I get to make another hazy, but like I don't get to make those every.
It's got to be
Nor
fun.
do I want to make them every week.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
that
like
would
a-
take some of the allure away from it. Like,
Yeah. You're a kid in a toy store.
Yeah.
You get to
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
I want to
free
try
reign,
this.
like,
I want to
yeah.
play with this. Let's see what happens. I love that. And the fact that you said what you said makes me appreciate even more what you guys do, which is we're going to make what we want to make, and we're going to do it right. We're going to make what we like. It's the artist doing the art because the artist understands the art, not
Yeah.
the artist trying to just make things that the art
I
appreciators
have no interest
want.
in making something I think is popular or that will sell.
I love
It's
that.
when the
I
coach
absolutely love
Like,
it.
I
Well,
think
that's why I like you
if you
guys.
build it, they will
Okay.
come. I don't know, like,
when the coach
We're not
listens
gonna-
to the fans, he winds up sitting with them.
yeah, like, I don't want to work. I don't want to, like, I don't know, the way the beer industry is right now, it's so weird with, like, smoothie sours and lactose this and that. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like,
Seltzers.
I have a lot of respect for the people that are doing those beers really good, but like, it's just not something I want to do at this point in my career. And I'm fortunate that I could make the beer I want to make here, and people seem to be appreciative of it. And you guys like hazies, I'll keep making them, but like, I'm only gonna make a couple a year. The majority of our focus is on the wild beer and lager.
Not everybody has to do everything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the
I can be a
breweries that
specialist
just
there, you can be a
want to
specialist there.
just do a little bit of everything, okay, like that's fine for them. But I want to do what we want to do, and I want to do it excellent. And I want to narrow that focus. Like, I think when you get too spread out with your focus,
Jack of all trades, right? Master of none.
of none. So like, it's a pretty big red flag for me when a brewery thinks they can do every fucking style on earth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I might have just jeopardized your.
No, I've already dropped the F-bomb. It's all right.
No, that's
Very
a passion, and passion is more important than profit.
Except for when you
Profit's
got employees to pay. And
Yeah.
Profit's
Wait,
important.
that's not what you tell me.
But again, passion does lead the way. It would not even occur if it were not for the passion first.
It's focused on the process, not the outcome. If you focus on the outcome of we want to make a profit, and that's the only thing you focus on, you do dumb things like cut costs where you shouldn't cut costs, or cut labor where you should cut labor. Whereas if you focus on the process of making good beer, that's a cut above the rest, that there's going to be a market for, because there's all of us beer snobs in Nashville and around the country that we want a good product. We're willing to pay more for something that we enjoy.
Yeah, we're fortunate that we have a lot of really good following with a beer geek crowd, or like a discerning palate beer drinker. Like we're destroying these beers throughout the Southeast, and they're selling. So
This all beer's gone down so quick.
So
Yeah,
ratings?
too quick.
So if you
Well, back to
when we
Mike's
get to me,
favorite.
this it's a close tie between Pils and this alt beer.
Yeah.
The alt beer wins, and this is not my normal style of beer at
It is.
all.
Yeah.
So
It was really good.
It's an
love
alternate
this.
style for you. Is that what you're saying?
It's an alt style.
It is an alt beer. That's killer.
I mean, yeah, I would say the alt beer is almost better than the house beer. They're very similar but different, and I don't know, they go hand in hand almost.
I think the similarity is like the Germans know how to make drinkable beer.
Yep.
So like if you just make drinkable beer, like
I mean,
yeah,
they make
they're super different, but like they're drinkable.
I definitely feel there's a trend in America of like, what's the highest ABV beer you have on tap?
Yeah,
I want that
We do
9%
that with everything
triple
as a-
hazy.
we did that.
Society.
We did that 10, 15 years ago with the IBU war with
Yep.
IPA. Who can make the most bitter one? And then it was like, who can make the most sour beer and who can make the most everything beer. But like, I'm focused on making the most drinkable
Well,
beer.
it's funny. You get back to most brewers you talk to, and like, what's your go-to style? And it's a light lager, Kolsch, something of that,
yeah,
Pilsner, something
brewers-
4 to 5% that you can just drink.
Almost every brewery you will ever interview will say like our Pilsner or our Helles or our lager. Like, I'm fortunate that I work at a brewery that is the bulk of our production. There's a lot of brewers out there that make IPA, hazy IPA, or fruity kettle sour day in and day out, and they, don't have the opportunity to make Helles. But
Yeah.
nothing.
So, out of these beers, what's your favorite?
I think
It's children.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm really proud of how
Every
the alt
parent
beer,
has a favorite.
How the alt beer came out. I think that it's a kind of it's a style of beer that's near and dear to my heart. I think because it's like a little bit obscure and it gets like a backseat to Kolsch.
I agree with that.
I gear towards the dark and malty, so I love it.
Yeah, but like
That's my second out of
House
these.
Pills is like probably my number one right now, just because I'm like, it's what I'm brewing the most of. It's the one I'm like trying to like just nail down, and it's really cool to make one batch of alt beer and just like it turned out great and everyone loves it. But like to make a consistent Pilsner that tastes the same every time you open a can or have a pint, like that's something that I personally didn't have an opportunity to do at Barrique prior to launching this brand. So like it's something I take a lot of pride in, and it's not easy, right? Like we're dealing with the Cumberland River, which changes. We're dealing with agricultural products in the hops and malt and stuff. So like it's cool to make a one-off beer that's delicious, but it's cooler to make a core beer that tastes the same every time.
Yeah.
Just
craftsmanship.
reliable, right?
Right. It's craftsmanship. It's tweaking it and dialing it in, and then understanding your processes and your raw materials just to make it taste the same every time, so that our consumers don't realize. I might realize, but like I drink more of this than anyone.
I'm going to rate it a surprising 7, but I'm going to bump it up to an 8.
All right.
Right, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So one thing you got to have in the brewing industry is thick skin.
That's right.
7 but an 8. It's a 7 but an 8.
What is? I haven't given a rating to anything other than I love Barrique. I mean, I'm a fanboy. I'll say it. I'm curious, sitting around people like rating beer, what would be an offensive red? Like if you brewed a beer and someone gave it, like what score do you go?
I honestly don't care anymore. Like I've been doing this for
Thick
so long.
skin,
that
I know.
I don't care. I care. I mean, and this is not a shot at you guys or beer drinkers, but like I put more weight into industry professionals or judges' opinions. Obviously,
We've already said it too. You're brewing what you want to brew that you like, that you know you do well, and you're not trying to cater to public opinion because it's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, public opinion.
And
is
plus the
fickle.
fact that, when it comes to
right.
my opinion and 800 other
Yeah.
No,
things,
but like
yeah,
public
yeah.
I'm an
opinion
idiot.
does matter.
No,
obviously,
yeah, but like,
Yeah.
what do I know about beer?
If 9 out of 10 people are saying this beer sucks, then like I might go like, whoa, shit, like what did I do wrong, or like something happened here or something. But like, there's always the one outlier or the people that don't understand the style or something. So I like to share my beer with other brewers and people that I respect their palates and trust their palates. And like, if they think it's
Dealing with it every
okay,
day.
what I don't know how to ask this question because I don't want to like put you on the spot or put anybody out.
No,
but like,
getting Chinese.
what are the breweries that inspired you, or the brewers that inspired you most, or that you look up to the most, or you like the best? Like, do you have a couple names out there like these guys, or just? I know there's so many.
There's a few people that have like really helped me personally and professionally through my career. We talked about one when we were talking the other day. It was Ashley Carter from Beer Shot. I think she's one of the most talented brewers on the planet, and she happens to make the best lager in the country at Beer Shot in Denver. And she's been instrumental in helping me make lager for the last half a dozen years or whatever since I've been friends with her. I got a huge list of people like my buddy Jesse Brown out in Seattle, Avery Swanson of Keeping Together. I got
friends in Seattle. So what brewery is this?
He's at Formula Brewing in Seattle now.
In Seattle.
I think it's it's like a little bit south of Seattle. It's like in Seattle proper.
Okay.
But
they're in I think Bellevue, so southeast of Seattle.
I've actually never been there, but he used to live here in town, and we work together, and we talk on the phone like every day. He does hop selection with me or for me and stuff like.
Well, yeah. You gotta get this one.
Yeah, like he's like, this is the lot you want, and I'm like, I want that one, please. Because I'm too small of a brewery to be able to like select my Mosaic or Citra, so I just trust him to do it. But yeah, I mean, I got so many people that I call for. I got a random question about this style of beer or like this thing. Like I said, with Hazy IPA, I called everyone I knew that make hazy. And when I make Czech lagers, I want to call people that make Czech lagers. And
so we used to all work. Well, the three of us used to work at the same place, and on our manager's desk there was a little Zig Ziglar quote, and it was, "You can now I forget which manager this started with. Anyways." It was, you can get whatever you want out of life as long as you help enough other people get what they want first. So the sharing of information, you were talking about, other brewers and sharing information. You got nothing to hide. You're down to share your secrets and techniques and the things you learn with other people. Because a rising tide raises all ships. And it's that really kind of resonates right now in my mind with what you're saying, of just. You have all these people that have been willing to help you, and you're passing it forward and helping other people. And it's what I love about the brewing industry and beer is you see that camaraderie and that willingness to cooperate and make things better. Okay, you look at it like years ago, you have something like Pliny the Elder, and it's revolutionary, and it's like the OG West Coast IPA. Now you can go to almost any town in America and get, in my opinion, something of equal quality to Pliny the Elder. It's not hard.
Sure.
Or it's not uncommon, I should say.
And that's because Vinny shared that recipe and shared his processes and his techniques, and he was completely open with it. Like,
there's enough to go around, right?
And now you go anywhere and get good beer, and I love it. I love it. It makes me happy.
That's cool. Let's start wrapping this up. Rating? Did you get a rating?
Of this beer?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say 8, 9 out of 10. It was delicious.
Yeah.
All right, if I'm giving one 9 out of 10 Dusseldorfs.
9 Dusseldorfs.
If a warehouse only held 10 barrels, I would put all 10 of them in there happily for this beer. That's a killer beer.
I only went for the surprising 7 because of the alliteration, but it's definitely an 8. So
That's a killer beer. Yeah. I like it. So I'm gonna wrap it up with one last thing, and I want you to have that word, and that is, if you want anybody to know something about Barrique, what would that be?
I want you to know that we're going to make the best beer that we can. We're going to do it as traditional, as authentic as we can, but without being like pretentious about it, or still being fun about it, and educational, informative about it. Like. I encourage you to come visit our tap room. We're doing, service in the specific glass that's designed to be that beer style in, and I think just the overall experience is like something we pride ourselves on. So, I love all of our retail partners out in the market across the Southeast that are selling our beer on draft and in cans and bottles, but like, come here and experience Barrique.
From the Genesis.
Yeah,
I love it.
from the
Spencer, truly,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having
Thank me.
It's
you.
been a ball. Everything you guys have done is fantastic. Again,
thanks.
truly yet to have a bad beer.
I feel like I just like ranted on tangents about a bunch of bullshit.
No.
That's what we do, baby. That's
Welcome
what
to
we
the
do.
Ales and Tales
Any of your
podcast.
questions?
That's
maybe.
what we do.
Yeah.
No, this is fantastic, guys. If you guys have a chance to come to Nashville and you have the ability to try some beer, go out of your way. Come find Barrique. It's not hard to find. It's not hard to get to. I would highly recommend it. This is not a paid advertisement. This is a legit. This is a great place to come. Find Spencer if he's here. If not, drink the beer anyway. It's great. Everything we had, and we had a wide range of beer.
Yeah.
That was good stuff.
Fantastic.
So find Barrique, give it a shot, and
See you next time.
well, there's that. Cheers.
Find and follow us at the alesandtalespodcast.com.
There you go.
There you go. All right.